guys, I'm going to talk about discipline and focus. So when Brendan reached out to me and asked me to come on here, I got that like imposter syndrome part, like, oh my God, like Brendan, he's so amazing. Who am I? Who am I to deserve to go on, his platform and speak? Now, the reason why I want to start there is my negative voice is continuous. It doesn't stop. I haven't been able to quieten it. So here's what I've done. When I have the negative voice, I've stopped trying to battle it. I've stopped trying to push it off. I've stopped trying to ignore it because I haven't been able to. So now what I do is I've shifted my perspective of how I see that negative voice. And I go, if I have to see it as a friend, well, what would I say to it? So the perfect example of yesterday, Brendan reaches out, negative voice is like, who the hell do you think you are? And so then it comes in, I'm like, okay, friend, what are you trying to tell me? And in that moment where I just opened it up, no ego, no emotion, no like, I'm not good enough, just leaving it space. What are you trying to tell me? Trying to tell me that Brendan's freaking A level. And Lisa, you haven't done enough. You haven't practiced enough. You haven't put in the hours like Brendan has to show up and be as good as him. Now that's the truth. So now that I've addressed the truth, I don't feel badly about it. And I say, okay, if I want to be the best in the world, I've got to put in the hours. So that's number one. That's why I'm here. This is part of me putting in the hours. So when I said, okay, fear, what are you telling me? It's you're not good enough. I go, great. How do I get good? I get good by going on. I get good by talking. I get good by getting them the feedback and saying, what did I do well? What did I do wrong? That is how I have worked to have my negative voice help me instead of stop me from my goals. So that's one thing. To me, it's what are the tools I'm going to use in order to show up every day and be the hero of my own life. That's the language I like to use. I like to use the word hero. It makes me feel a certain way. So that is it. It's having a toolbox of things you can get whenever you're in need of something. But for me, it's not even the acts. Tell me to go to bed at 9. Okay, I'll go to bed at 9. Tell me to do this. All right, I can do that. Until the negative voice and the belief that I'm not good enough, the belief that who do you think you are, the belief that like, I actually don't know this, but I'm still going to do it anyway. All of those things, to me, guys, is what stops me. It's the emotion behind it. It's the fear of failing and people making fun of me. It's the fear of doing something wrong. Those things are real. And now I ask, how do you not stop them in your tracks to that goal? That when you are lacking discipline, when you lack it, because you will, no matter how much me, Brendan, everyone's trying to give you tips and tactics and tricks, there will be moments that you lack it. And in that moment, you have to believe in yourself to get back up. You have to believe that. So now let's talk about how we actually believe those things. And this is how I function. This is honestly, guys, no BS of how I get up every day. So the very first thing, and if you're fans of my husband, you have heard this time and time again, but it is so fundamental to how we function in life as individuals, in our business, that it is absolutely the first thing you need to ask yourself. No bullshit, what would it actually take? So when we talk about focus, when we talk about discipline, to me, it is to achieve something. It isn't just focus and discipline in random. And that's how I see confidence. People say to me, Lisa, I want the confidence. And I say, to do what? You want the discipline to do what? There's an end goal in sight. And sometimes we focus so much on the discipline element or the act of doing something that we lose sight of what that end goal is. Because then you pat yourself on your back and you go, great, I'm now disciplined, but have you reached a goal? Like, to me, that's your line of how you should assess on whether you've achieved it or not. Have you actually reached your goal? Now, here's the thing. In reaching your goal, for me, my goal is 10, 20-year plan. So I need those small wins. I need those little things that allow me to say, yes, I've achieved it. All right, so now let me just back up a second and go back to no bullshit. What would it actually take? So before you do anything, you have to ask yourself that. If it is, so what's your goal right now? I'm asking everyone to write down actually their goal. Now, your goal needs to be in less than a sentence. You can't have like a whole run on, oh, I want to do this so I can do this and then I'll end up doing this. You need to succinctly be able to say what your goal is so that you have clarity. If you don't have clarity, no one else will. So be very succinct. What is that goal? Okay, everyone's written down that goal in hopefully 4 words, maybe a little more, but so succinctly, I can tell you my goal. I used to say, I want to create impact. Well, what the hell does that mean? Impact positively or impact negatively? Okay, I want to impact positively. Okay, great. Who? Females, males, everyone? Females. Okay, what age? Like, I have gotten so detailed on exactly what my goal is. I want to impact young girls aged between 11 and 15 because that is the age of imprint. I can say it super succinctly, right? So now I know my goal. You have to get very clear on what your goal is. Write that down. Now, play the no bullshit. What would it actually take to get there? So if it's the easy one is like, learn a language, right? If I said to you, do you know how to speak Mandarin? And I chose a very difficult language on purpose. Do you know how to speak Mandarin? Most people are like, oh God, no, I can't. And I'll be like, oh, okay, but you could learn. Most people will be like, oh God, no, God, that's so overwhelming. Well, now let me break it down. What's the no bullshit right now if you guys had to actually learn Mandarin? You may have to give up your job. You may have to ignore your partner. You may have to sell your house so you can finance the classes, right? This is all the no BS with no judgment right now. You're just actually laying out what it's going to take for you to get there. Because what we often do, me, myself included, I used to say that isn't possible before I've even assessed it. And I had a live the other day and this woman was actually saying, Lisa, my father comes over every single night for dinner. I'm trying to start this business and he keeps reminding me that I'm not at home with my child and makes me feel like a bad mother. So I said, okay, have you played the no bullshit game of what it would take to eliminate that toxicity in your life? Option number 1, don't invite your dad. And she was like, oh. She literally just shook her head. And I'm like, hang on, you've already dismissed it. Now I understand you don't want to, and you are deciding to keep inviting him. But the breakthrough, guys, the breakthrough is acknowledging you have that choice. So you 100% have the choice to lock your front door and not let your dad in. But now you have to say, no bullshit, am I willing to do it? And if you're not willing to do it, then that's amazing. But now you realize it's a choice and you're not being forced into it. So that's number 1. Actually write down and lay out what your no BS thing is to get to that goal. And now, without judgment, ask yourself if you're actually willing to do it. So with Tom and I, we came into impact theory. We're going to build the next Disney. No BS, what does that actually take? All right, that means working day and night, which means Monday to Friday. Me and my husband are not romantic partners. Monday to Friday, me and my husband are business partners. And that was the no BS of how we're actually going to build the next Disney. And so we were willing to do it. So I urge you guys, that is so important, fundamental, to make sure that you actually understand that and know what you have to do to get there. All right, now next thing is no BS. What is actually stopping you? So be honest. Is it your emotion? Is it I feel bad? Is it I feel like I will be a less mother, a less husband, a less whatever it is. And so if I do this, I have this fear. Okay, acknowledge the fear. Don't judge yourself. You're going to hear me repeat that, guys. And at the end, you may want to punch me in the face, but like, this is what I tell myself all the time. Do not judge yourself. Do not judge yourself on the answers that you come up with. This is just giving you a space to acknowledge it. Now say, okay, no BS, what's actually stopping me? And then you can assess, are you willing to eliminate that hurdle from your life? So if it's the example of this lady, her dad, is she willing to cut her dad out of her life? If that's what's needed, I wouldn't jump straight to that. But let's say that's the case. Are you willing to? That's the no bullshit. So you have to ask yourself that.
This can be your day for personal growth. This can be that day you committed to and you remember and you go, that was the day I got myself a community. I got better coaches. I committed to making my life the absolute best that I could. This is that day. Make today your growth day. Click the button on this page and sign up right now.